Got it. All righty. And let me hit it done. All righty, y'all. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey, here in Morocco at Northwestern Maxim. How are you? And I'm here with my magnificent and beloved brother, in whom I am well pleased, and he is.
Islam, little soy, little soy shiny man. You already know that all is well, and bro, man, I always kind of forget, and I always need his assistance. Man, what was that appellation, bro? Man, can you help me out?
That is always classically hilarious, man. All righty. So with that being said, guys, welcome to, first of all, happy Holy Venus degree to you all, right? On this, it's called second day pertaining to June. However, we know that the sun entered, that was the 20th, right? If I recall, the sun ingressed Gemini, tropic Gemini, so to speak, on the 20th. So we're at about 13 degrees today, right? Let's see. Let's just double check real quick, right? Go and check some less. If I'm not mistaken. The sun is currently at, forgive me, 11 degrees, right? So maybe that was the 21st, 22nd-ish when the ingress happened. We had to go back and check that one out, right? So with that being said, guys, we want to speak casually as we do before we do our invocation in, right? And our invocation in that it is that we do, right? What'd you say, bro?
I said, yeah, it was the 21st. It was 0900 hours Central, 309 Eastern.
Okay, 309 Eastern, indeed, on the 21st. Okay, and right now the sun is at exactly 11 degrees, 57 minutes, all right? So with that being said, guys, we want to speak casually, kind of, speak about an energy that, has, it's running rampant, and I think it's been happening for quite some time. So we have one of our beloved brothers, of whom we're well pleased. We had kind of spoke about him, but didn't say specifically who he was, or he's joining us now. I actually see him getting the audio connected right now. And wanted you guys to be able to just kind of hear a little bit of history pertaining to this energy, right? There's a certain energy that is happening, and people are targeting, I think, well-studied Moors, alrighty? Pure heart, sincere, true and faithful Moors, right? So with that being said, I see my bros getting this camera together. And bro, I mean, when you're ready, you just let me know when you're ready, man. You can speak at any time, introduce yourself so that the people can get to know who our special guest is today. Bro said he had about maybe about a half an hour or less. So I was like, man, that's more than enough time to really discuss what it is that we're discussing. You know what I'm saying? Well, like something maybe covering your camera, broski. I mean, I can see you. I recognize you, Might be something covering your camera a little bit, broski. You can hear us though, right? You're muted right now. I think you can. It's all to the goods. I'm pretty sure you guys can already read the Zoom handle that's at the lower left-hand corner of his thumbnail. But I guess as we, wait to get that together, guys, you guys know that what we will be going in on after speaking casually, we will be going in on, the federal rules of civil procedure. And because we already went through the history, went through the timelines, spoke about the judicial conference pertaining to the United States, right? And when you just do the history on these things, man, speaking of history, our brother that's joining us here, he'll
Islam.
be more. Islam, bro.
Peace, brother. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Man, all is well, bro. I was saying, I mean, you can cam up too if you want, but I'm pretty sure the people know your voice, bro. You can introduce yourself, let them know who you are, broski.
Peace, everyone on the line. Peace, happy holy day to everybody. I'm Asir. Everybody knows me as Asir the Duke of Tears. Prince Charles Rogers Eel. Prince Charles E.L. Rogers Eel. And I was just coming through to say peace to the Moors, you know.
Peace.
Peace, fellowship, love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality, you know. As much as we can, I try to support the brothers, you know.
Indeed, man. Well, I know when I reached out to you, and like I said, I think it was like last Tuesday. You know, I was like, bro, like, I was like, yo, is you live with these cats, yo? Because they had asked me to join something that they was titling a debate, and I was like, I'm not going to debate anyone. I just had some information to share, so you further grow. And just to be brief, and not dropping appellations here or whatever, not dropping appellations or whatever, bro. Like at the end of the day, our mutual, spiritual mother is Mother Rashida Bey, the CR for Grace Hill National Association of Moorish Affairs. So it's like, once I found that out, I'm like, all right. And and even there's times that she suggested, she's like, look, have you talked to Asir? Like, talk to Asir. She's like, that's my baby. She's like, you're all my babies. Like, talk to Asir.
Right.
All right, cool.
Right, indeed.
So when I reached out to you, I'm like, bro, it seemed like when I called you, I'm like, yo, you live with these cats? You're like, man, I ain't been live for like 2 months, man. I ain't been really dealing with that type of stuff, right? So I'm like, all right. So I guess they're using sound bites, and what they was doing at that time was talking about how being a private citizen is better than being Moorish American. So I figured you have, come out of the womb before me as far as taking nationality and birthright seriously. So I wanted you to share your wisdom on what it is when these people do these things to they say they want to debate, but really it's like this is their impromptu and maybe best way of saying they want to sit at our feet to learn something. I yield the floor to you.
Right.
Seriously.
You're right. Nah, you're right, brother. Elder once told me, he said, the one thing that surprised me is when I see a Moor do right. You know what I mean? And I never really understood that until like way later, until I realized that we are now the young elders. We're now the elders now that we used to watch on TV or reading books and all of that. So what happens is, you got to understand, half of our people are still in an arrested development. You know what I'm saying? They're in there. A lot of them are going through what they call their Saturn return, but they look at it more like in their instance, it's more of a second childhood. It's more of a regression to a second childhood, more than them understanding what the return of Saturn means in their chart. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So you have a lot of. I was one of the last ones to come through the line where like the elders held open the door for the new ones coming in. You know what I'm saying? And unlike a lot of the other ones, at least in my position, I came in without having to be involved with any of their, clandestine situations that they had going on, whether it be Prince Hall or Scottish Rite or OTO or Golden Dawn or Rolling Mechanic. That shit is big in the hood. That whole component is very, very big in the hood, and they kind of intertwined it with knowledge, and it's really not that, because they're not giving knowledge. They're just sitting on it, hoarding it, using it as leverage, using it as money. So when you have people don't have a acumen what they're doing, and when they don't have I don't think I ever met a Moor outside of Moors who were actually babies, grew up in the temple like that, like our Mother Rashida. Other than I've yet to see more outside of being groomed and raised up in the temple that when we became Moors, or when you got knowledge, this is what you set out to do. This is more calling, this is more like a calling for people, for our people. And a lot don't really hear it like that. A lot of them look at it as like a come up, or I'm gonna do this in lieu of that, or I can get this if I do that. And when I realized was like, well, why? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm after watching, you know, Hakeem Bey tapes, Queen Valeria tapes, you know, building with people like Bobby and Brother Dawood and these type of people. Because in New York, where I was coming up, like, they was all around. That's where you came to kind of like set it off. So by the time it came to my era, or I would say our era, we were the last, or myself, I can only speak for myself, but I think I was one of the last ones to actually have a torch passed. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to young dudes coming up and then trying to put all the old dudes in the back, but they're just all this stuff, watch them on tape. So being one of those few more, right, that wasn't a part of any other thing other than the Moorish Divine and National Movement, I found a lot of Moors that were involved in a lot of other things besides being Moors. So it's like, we're Moors, but, you know, I'm also a Omega. I'm also a Kappa. I'm also a Prince Hall. I'm also a OTO. I'm also Palo Mayombe. Like whatever it is, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Thing is, when you become a Moor, it's like becoming a member of the gods on earth. It's like whatever you go into after, you become like the head of that. Because the way that you've been trained as a Moorish American is very ingrained with understanding certain principles. So you grasp stuff way quicker. Correct. So same thing in Nation of Earth, you know, like, you'll never look at the letter A as just the letter A. That's always going to be Allah. It's always going to be born. It's always going to be C. It's always going to be divine destroy. You see what I'm saying? So it was the same thing in New York at that time, and really going ham on the Moorish side. I'm seeing that Moors are in it, but they're like hedging their bets just in case the Moor thing don't work. So I was never on. I was more all in. So kind of applied what I gleaned was true, but unfortunately, I couldn't go to a lot of these people to build with them on it, because when I would, some would take it as a challenge. Some wouldn't just want to tell me they didn't know. So they'll have me running around the mulberry bush for stuff, you know. Some take it almost like we're in a competition to get the knowledge. So early, it was more of an ego game for a lot of people. So I decided to pull back, because I'm really trying to get this now. I'm really trying to understand what this stuff is about and not get caught up in a lot of the clickism that I'm seeing happening with temple Moors, Moors outside the temple, Moors who acknowledge Drew Ali, Moors that don't acknowledge Drew Ali, Moors who see him as a prophet, don't see him as a prophet. Like, it's all of this dichotomy. So going back to the old adage, when the Moor said, when the one thing surprised me when I see a Moor do right, this is what I was really starting to do the knowledge to. So what I decided to do was circle my wagons and get my estate in order, get my trust in order, get my nationality and understanding enough in order, so that way, if anybody, I can at least get my family straight. And once my family's straight, inshallah, that works. Now I'm qualified enough to help other people. And then that's what I started doing. But then what happened was, it got to a point where I was kicking so much stuff about the temple and the history and this and that, that this elder called me and was like, yo, Moore, you know, I didn't know what temple you was a part of, this and that. And I was like, well, I'm not. He was like, well, a lot of the stuff you dropping is like, how do you know this without being involved with it?
And it had a chamber, is what
right.
he was implying. Got you.
Right. So I was like, right. I was like, so you're right, Elder. And I don't want to be one out here to, you know, benefit off of what the man did and not at least give light or respect or even try to be a part of his organization. So that's when I became part of Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple 8, out here in Andalusia, what we call Florida. And that was great. And we had a direct connection to some Moors out of Chicago. However, after maybe about a year and a half of keeping it going and running the temple and do, you know, because I started off like a chairman. And then from the chairman, I wind up, they wind up bringing me up to assistant sheik. And then from assistant sheik, then they was trying to set up like a governorship out here. So now I was able to get that. And I got all the letters that you're supposed to get to do that, because I wanted to make sure I knew how to properly open and close the temple for service. You know what I'm saying? I want to know who, okay, it's not just the grand sheik. It's not just a sheik. You got to have a sheik, an assistant sheik, a treasurer, a mufti, a chairman. Like, I want to know the structure of what I'm a part of. So these people can't try to gaslight me into thinking that, okay, nah, you're supposed to open the temple like this. You're supposed to do it like that. When really there's a set way that everybody's supposed to do it. And if you're a sheik, you know how to do that. So just little things like that is what really got me involved with it, despite all the crap that started to manifest from the Chicago Alliance, to the point we had to kind of step away from them. Because, you know, once the old man left, bless the dead, barely ill, because that's where I got my temple card from. I got it from Supreme Grand Sheik Barely Ill back in 2014, 15. And after he left, you know, they put people in there, and, you know, these people are like Freemasons. They're Moors, but they're Freemasons. And these Moors, these ones today want you to believe that both are interchangeable. And because the Moors created the Freemasonry, like we, you know, it don't make no difference. But I would argue that if I created a civilization program for the devil, then that means that that is a program made for his civilization, not mine.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? He's studying 35 to 50 years to be what I'm naturally born as. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So for me to now go involve myself in another system, not only that I'm above, but that my ancestors created to civilize lesser people, lesser based upon their animalistic nature. That would be like me teaching my baby how to change their diaper, and then to see if the baby understand it. I didn't put the diaper on and then have the baby try to change me to see if it know, like that's maladapted. And so when I started to see a lot of the justifications for this, that's when I realized, like, okay, they're trying to move this Moorish thing into a whole nother octave. It's bad enough they deaded all the civics in the temples between 38 and like now. And and it's bad enough that, you know, you had a lot of traitors that wind up coming up and are now revered today. You know what I'm saying? But if you really get into the history, you know that these people are the same people that sold the man out. However, I wasn't there. So I can only go by what was left. And what I see is remnants. And whenever there's a remnant of something, that it's still there, but it's so almost fleeting that it's hard for people to unify behind that. Because the minute that you settle on a certain degree of Moorish information, here come another Moor or another guy who you never even heard of. You just sound like you know what he's talking about. And then he say this, and now everything you feel you've been working on is crap. That's not knowledge. That's not progression. What that is a form of influx stagnation, that we're almost waiting for the next person to come with the next thing. So this way we could try to piece that with what we already have. And it don't work like that. It's a lot simpler. So when the debate culture started, it started amongst the Moors because they brought Seti out. Seti, who was a Freemason, he was bubbling in Detroit, and Sonetta was trying to bring this energy up to New York, because now the elders are going. So the new elders that's coming up at that time was me, people like Morris Brooklyn, Sabir, the twins, Rashid, who else was young at the time coming up like that? Panic, you know what I'm saying? And a couple of these people. So by the time it come to this era with me, out of all of them, I'm the Moor though. You understand what I'm saying? Like they all got knowledge, they all doing their thing, but I'm the Moor. I'm the Moorish American. I'm the
Gotcha.
one functioning through the paradigm. These guys are building on Moors. They know they Moors. They wearing Moorish t-shirts. But when it comes to actual declaring nationality, when it actually come to actually going with the shit and standing firm on that, that's me. So at that point, it seemed like the Moors were basically taking over the conscious community because everything was about Moors. This is when the Hidden Colors came out. Right.
So
and remember the first one. Right. Remember the first one was all about the Moors. That's what set it off, the Hidden Color shit.
Mm-hmm.
When they had the Corsican Moor's head on the cover. That's what set it off. So everybody in there was built on the Moors. By the second tape that he did with that, I started to see, okay, they're going to start veering away from the Moors. They're going to start going into the black stuff. So this is definitely where the rubbers meet in the road.
Wow.
And so that's when they was calling me to be, you know, a lot of people calling me to try to be involved with his situation. But it was like, for what? He don't want no Moors on it. He want people who know about Moorish history, but he don't want like actual card carrying Moors on the shit. You dig what I'm saying? Because then it's going to challenge the Negro black thing and all of that. And they make a lot of money off of that. So that's when I get a call from this brother named Armin, peace to him. And he used to do like stuff with Sonetta. So Sonetta, through him, I'm doing an event at the National Black Theater. And that's when he says, hey, I got this dude, he be trying to diss Moors and all of that. And being that you like the Moor, because I had just torpedoed the Africa Bambaataa thing that they was trying to do, where he was trying to get Moors. He was trying to set up something called the Zulu Kemetic Moors, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, remember that?
He
was setting that up. That's my word, God. He was really setting that off like he was going to do it. So he had me a part of that panel. Gotcha. And the panel was called What Were You Before 1492? Because this is him trying to ease the Zulu Kemetic Moor stuff and try to merge it with the real Moor stuff. You see what I'm saying? And then he going to use that to do his Freemason stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Got you.
Right? So in the middle of the lecture, so I'm on the lecture, me, Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Jeffries, another Boule. I'm on the panel with him. Jeffries start talking all of this crap about the Boule and how great the Boule was and this, that. So I wait him finish. And he's in this big African, like, you know, the big mabubas the African chiefs be wearing, like the, you know what I mean? Like the joints you be seeing like in the African neighborhoods, like the Senegalese and the Nigerians be wearing. He had a big joint like that.
All right.
So I'm just there with the feathers on and all of that. And I just laid into him, like, you're bugging. Like, this Boule, you're bugging. Like, this is the problem. And so by the end of that, he got up and took all that African stuff off. And he sat back down in a t-shirt and jeans. And then that's when they started the next lecture with the Zulu Kemetic Moor thing. And then that's when I got up in that and was like, look, this dude Bambaataa is trying to merge this Moorish thing with, like, basically told the people what was happening. Mm-hmm. So from then, they buried the tape, right? Wow. They buried the tape. And because it was real thing, because I really pressed him with it. And based upon what I had already heard or knew about him, you see what I'm saying? I really wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna give the Moors another black eye.
For those that know.
God. So that's what deaded that whole thing. That's why you never heard about that again. Because I deaded that. So in that, that's when they tried to set me up with the SETI lecture.
Gotcha.
And then when I found out that he was a Freemason or agent, I was like, well, you're gonna have to pay me 10 racks if I'm gonna sit down with a known agent. You gotta pay me up front because y'all niggas gonna make money. Yeah. And I'm not gonna be asked out like that. So naturally, they didn't want to do that, right? Because they really didn't want me to even really debate him. They just wanted me and him to be on the screen together so he could get loud. You see what I'm saying? And then it looked like I'm thing. But the thing is, I'm from Brooklyn. So no Detroit niggas getting over on me like that. You understand what I'm saying? Not just Detroit, but I'm saying I'm in my hometown. You come in here. So I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You, in a sense, challenging me. You trying to get this thing to challenge me. So why am I gonna reduce myself for him? And he's a nobody. I don't know this dude.
Correct.
So long story short, he gave him one of the tapes I did on Hannibal, because I only did 2 tapes with Sonetta. The very first one and the second one I did on Hannibal. He gave him the Hannibal tape I did, and then I started hearing talking points about what I did coming through SETI. So I'm starting to see, okay, this is how they doing it. They're going to bring him in to be the Moore killer, and then all of these other niggas going to come with him. So I'm definitely not going to set myself on that, because this dude is not even acumen-wise. Like, he's showing East Africans from the Congo and acting like those is Moors and Moorish Americans. Like, these niggas don't even speak Arabic. What are you talking about? Those are East African Swahili speakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously don't know direction, nationality, dialect, and you trying to gaslight Moors today now to say, oh, see, the Moors was in the Congo enslaving everybody. No, those wasn't Moors. Those was Africans, East Africans. They put marked up hats on, right? Marked up fezzes with basically hats on, and then had the Swahili speakers go in on the indigenous Congo speakers. So none of that had anything to do with Moroccans, Moors, or any of that. So right there, I already know that you gaslighting and you trying to like put a black eye on the Moors. So so I got all of this ready, and the spirit was like, yeah, but you don't scream to be heard. You don't cast your pearls to swine, because I was going to do it. But it was like, for what? For what? Who is this nigga? Like, why do they want you of everybody? That's what you also got to ask too. When you the Moor, especially when you the only Moor in the cipher, you got to ask why they want you.
Yeah.
And so that's what he did, Mo. I said, well, no, I ain't going to do it. Y'all ain't going to give me my bread. So, good luck with all that. So as time would have it, who took the bait? Alim Bey and Morris Brooklyn. And he proceeded, and if you look at that tape, you'll see this dude said he like went stupid on them. He was like slapping them up. You know what I mean? Like just really like not even hitting them with knowledge, but he's just basically barking on them in such a way that it looked like he won. And that became the narrative until Sharif Aniel Bey, peace to him, he then stepped up. He wasn't having it. And then me and him had a combo.
Got you.
And beforehand, and he was like, yeah, Mo, what you want to know, like anything that I could know about how to get at this. I said, Mo, you got this. This is light work. Like, don't even take these dudes serious like that.
Yeah,
this is really not all a pageant. It's all pageantry. It's all like, remember when you could rap real good in the lunchroom, and then like everybody like how you rap, but then there's a specific girl that you like, so you would go extra ham on it, so that way she notices you more. That's what shit is. That's what it is, Morris. It's not anything outside of an ego game. These guys very rarely follow through with any type of solution-based material. Gotcha. It's always going to stay in a debate. It's always going to stay on a level of antagonism, and it's always going to be at a level where they're going to try to make you defend yourself. And the gospel the only thing we need to defend is the gospel. We don't got to defend no man. I don't got to defend the prophet. The prophet defend himself.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've noticed people have come out and said all types of shit about Noble Drew Ali, and every person that ever came out in the conscious community say some negative shit about him, you'll never hear it from them again. Or they get severely spanked. Look what happened to Pharaoh. After talking all that about the prophet, look what happened to him. Went crazy. Lost
what happened
everything.
To who?
Crashed out. See what I'm saying, Mo? Like, all these dudes. What about the other dude, the Hebrew dude that wrote the book, the Princess and the Prophet dude, trying to say that this guy, William, I forget his name, Willis Elling, whoever his name was, that he said this guy was the prophet. You could just look at the picture of this person next to Drew Ali and see those are two different people. Those are two different people, bro. But if you want to convex it and make it like this, cool. Because that's what they've been doing from the beginning. They've been trying to downplay everything the prophet did. They took everything the prophet did, put it all on Fard like he did that. Put it all on Elijah like he did that. Put it all on Malcolm like he did that. Put it all on, you just keep naming them. And they all got fezzes in the closet. They all got to go through the degree where they acknowledge the prophet as head of Islam. They all got to, you know what I'm saying? They all got to submit on Shriner Day on the June 16th when Sirius is the lowest in the hemisphere. They all got to, you know what I'm saying? That's the only day they can wear their feathers outside. Like, it's a whole thing with these people. I'm telling you, it's a whole thing with these people, and it's all based on lies. It's all based on this fake, we in it together, all Moors are the same, and it's like, we're not. We are, but we're not. We're supposed to be. We're a part of the Asiatic nation, but the Asiatic nation fell to itself. So our biggest problem is each other.
Correct.
You know? And unfortunately, that's why I'm glad, like, when you reached out, you know, we could build, because I be so in my little cul-de-sac that I strive not to involve myself or put myself in too many different platforms with people, because I've had dudes, I've been on shows and dudes like want to use it as a mean to get stripes, or like make it like seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's like, I'm just there talking to this person. And to the point where it's like, I'm really seeing that misery love company. And sometimes your people don't trust you unless you got a certain degree of dirt on you. And if you don't got that type of dirt, they don't trust that. Like, some people don't trust Moors or Asiatics with no criminal records. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
got you. Yeah.
Like, that's real. And it's like, that's because there's an inherent aspect in our people who believe that we're criminals.
Well, and, you know, near the Baltimore Corporation, they think more science, you know what I mean, is a jail religion. And that's the farthest thing from my experience, but I was able to do because, you know what I mean, my peoples, you know what I mean, wasn't on no get out of here doing whatever, because I've never been on no fuck shit. I'm just gonna keep it a man with you. So when it came to putting myself through my own little 8-year bit of studying, like, all right, so I was around Brother Taj for like 15 months straight, every other, you know what I mean?
That's like when he was running shit out of Black Theater, or when he was in Philly?
I was near Fridays would be up there near the Wilmington Corporation and House of Reawakening and Minds. And then that Saturday, he would be at the York House of Philly with Second Rock. Right. You feel me? So I would do my best to make all those. I was going on for like 15 months straight. And by being around Brother Taj and then being around Mother Delilah, because she was letting me know, like, when Bobby and Phil and everybody was coming to teach, they would stay on Chew Avenue at Mother Delilah's spot for it. You feel me? So Mother Delilah and Brother Taj was the one that had me, you know what I mean, ushered towards Mother Rashida. And ever since then, it's just been like, I was already on my studying on my own, because I don't like being under somebody's thumb. I don't want nobody playing the big man on the tier with me, none of that. So, and then a couple of, you know what I mean, temple experiences I did have, that one cat called himself Salt and Kamal Bay. Yo was up on Rogers Avenue.
Okay. I mean? Rogers in Brooklyn.
Rogers on Baltimore, off of Park Heights.
Okay, Rogers Avenue in Baltimore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Kamal was up there. You know what I mean? You already know Mother Rashida ain't really about yo. Because when I told her that experience, because yo want to say some 40-year-old virgin shit, like, if I pull this dagger, out of its sheath, it can't return unless it got blood on it. He's saying this after I'm letting him know I'm about 3 months in, and I'm thinking, oh shit, it's a temple around the corner. It was good. And I go through that, smoking fugs in my face, all that shit, man, that I mentioned, Brother Taj, all that. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But see, I'm the type cat that I don't look for somebody else to motivate me. I'm like, I know it's something in this. It's just that whoever I'm going to now is just, they ain't make that click in their mind that I know that I'm about to make. So when Brother Taj was like, if you want to meet anyone, you want to get to know who they are, meet them in their literature. And I was like, fuck, all right, cool. So I'm getting everything from Mother Ross Mariah at RB Bay Publications. I'm just getting everything that I can get from her. You see what I'm saying? Reading. And then I had the moments, because, I would go out, sun gaze, still do, do my breathing exercises that Brother Taj had given in the microprocipus video. Just different things I just stayed on looking at. Because really, before I even came across Brother Taj, my first 3 months was C. Freeman L. That's all I was absorbing.
C. Freeman, man.
That's all I was absorbing. You feel me? So I'm getting all that knowledge, the Egyptian count system, the breathing techniques. You see what I'm saying? All that from him, right? And them videos. So I'm just gleaning from that as I'm studying. And I realize I'm like, every time I go, because I went to the subordinate temple number 19 on Rock Rolls off of Town Road, bought corporation too, right? So I'm like, yo, how come it's like this odor of how you got that knowledge? Who is this? And how do you call yourself then? Like, hold on, man, my mother calls me this. However, at the end of the day, if you wasn't front and center between her legs, anything you think my mother called me or anything I say my mother called me, none of your business. So that's why we declare and proclaim our nationality. You see what I'm saying? Along with, you know what I mean, making our name correction. You feel me?
Right.
Because now what we doing is we taking our place amongst the affairs of men. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, cool. Like once I got that and really saw what the whole science was and the mathematics on that, yo, I'm like, damn, yo, these motherfuckers is really like, they don't care. To me, it's like they don't care. I yield, bro.
Yeah, I agree, bro. It's a caring, you know, but I would say, however, I would add on that it's more of a unknowing apathy. Like they have a apathy that hasn't been cured when they was Negroes. So they just bring it in with themselves as Moors. Like when we acknowledge ourselves as Moors, i.e. Moorish Americans, Asiatic, what we were prior to that is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. What has changed is our octave, our level of frequency and understanding that we were in a lower state. Now we're supposed to raise up into let's say a higher octave. But to do that, we have to acknowledge that at one point we was on that. And what I find is a lot of brothers get this knowledge and they become lords of the knowledge. And thus they don't want to do anything with it outside of be the one people come to get it. Because then it gives them a certain degree of gatekeeping and it gives them a certain degree of freedom, believe it or not, into the inner workers of your life, because you become dependent on that guidance. And then what happens is they then use that as a means to, you know, do other stuff. And I've watched that happen. Like there's unspoken rules with certain things. Like as much as people hate the temple, the reason why they don't like the temple is because, well, put it like this. You brought up Taj, perfect example. A lot of people in the temple don't like Taj, right?
Found that out. Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
The hard way, right? A lot of them don't like Taj, right? And it's not because he is against Noble Joe Ali. He's not.
Correct.
I've spoken to him. He has deep love for the Prophet. Where the rubber meets the road is, he was a part of that generation that got tired of sitting in the temple and watching these niggas do all the religious thing and don't come up with nothing civic based. Correct. He came from that generation that was like, nah, we got to see something come from this. We can't just sit here and talk about it. We need to implement this now. Because at one time in the 20s and stuff, you could have your temple, you could have the temple correct all your stuff for you. And then you can know it be done. You can't do that today because you don't know if the temple's a 501c3. You don't know if they even know how to do that. You don't know if they're running this thing like a storefront. You don't know if they're just taking your dues to pay their rent. You don't know. So in that, then you want to be faithful, but the infrastructure is not secured enough to do that. And when I started to research as to why is it not like that? I started to do the knowledge to different aspects of what was happening with the Moorish Science Temple, let's say as a entity behind the scenes in the commodities market, in the subsidies market, in the privatization, in the home market. And what I found out was that there is a organization, almost a brokerage firm called the Morningstar Trust that's sitting on that shit. And we know that Lucifer right? We know that Lucifer is the morning star. We know that. So the fact it was called Morning Star Trust, that kind of blew me away. So when I tried to pierce the veil as to find who is the people receiving the equity and the dispensation of what's in there, because he set it up like a generational skipping trust. Basically, he set it up like that. So it would come to fruition after the 80th or 90th year. So that's like 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
You understand? Mm-hmm. Which is around the same time the Supreme Grand Sheik, barely ill, blessed dead, passed. You see? And then around the same time, like I said, the new Freemason leader, who's acting like he's just a more whatever, Kane Connick, came in. And still nothing has happened. None of the temples have been upgraded. Say again?
Who was that again?
The new guy is K. Dandridge L. His name is K. Dandridge L. Keith Dandridge L. He's the new guy who took over allegedly from Bailey. But he was out here with us and we couldn't cause a lot of confusion. So he couldn't be out here. So he wound up going back out there. And I guess through his connections, he wound up coming up. However, a lot of other branches don't acknowledge him in that vein. Like he the type of dude, we didn't have discussions on a group chat for the temple. And then he say some wild shit. And then I'm like, yeah, more, but ain't you a Freemason? And then I get blocked from the whole chat. You know what I'm saying? Like he's one of these types. So, you know, one of them. So like I said, I started to realize that this is what it is. So in order for us to really get ahead of this thing, we have to be the new Moors that he spoke that would put the old Moors in the back. We got to look at it from a whole different perspective. Whatever these modern Moors is talking about as a means to garner money and stuff for the temple, that can't be the way to go because they don't have it. And if they had it, 10 chances to 1, we wouldn't even know. Because I'll tell you, a lot of these Moors act like they for the people, but let them get it. Once they get it, they out. You don't hear from them no more until they stuff run out. And then you start seeing them creep back in the hood again. You see what I'm saying? Start doing lectures again. See? So there's a whole host of people that fit that description. So I'm not speaking about anybody in specific. I'm just speaking to everybody in general. And unfortunately,
I could think of a few because I tell you, I, like I said, in a short amount of time, I got to be around most of the elders that are alive and well now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Mother Rashida was like, it's like after Brother Taj, Mother Delilah. Of course, I got to go to the Moorish Magi classes that Brother Hannibal was doing.
Hannibal, yeah.
Mother Rashida. So it's like just about anybody that's an elder now for real, like Brother Taj and them on down. I got him in the phone, man. Like I can call him, check on him. I'm saying,
see, you plugged in, but that's what I'm saying. Like we were from that generation that still, like I said, like we were from that generation that would get the baton passed to us.
Got you.
This new generation, they want to act like none of the elders existed. That is just start with them. These young niggas,
that's bullshit.
Niggas, these type of dudes, they all about the ego aspect of it because they never had to go to a real lecture. They never had to stand outside and wait. They never had to like find DVDs with this shit on it. And you know what I'm saying? They never had to actually go out for a real protest. Not like the bullshit we see today, but like when we was out there in the street, like when Gavin Cato got killed and this type of shit, like they've never experienced that type of activism. Gotcha. Their activism is strictly digital. It's coming strictly from conversations, right? and just a bunch of talking. Yeah. So like the reason, like somebody wrote me the other day, was like, yo, you know, I really wish you would post more on YouTube. And I do too, but I'm so in the real world. I be having to stop real life to then dump into there, you dig? And that's cool. I'm not against that. I'm just saying that those of us that are living for let's say the principles, we're not going to have a lot of like we're going to have way more supporters amongst the people than we will ever have amongst people that's doing it like us. Because most people see you as a threat. Like not to get into your business.
No, that's cool. Just when you said it, it gave me goosebumps because that's like the 20th millionth time I heard that, especially since taking nationality and birthright seriously, yo. And it's like I'm at a point now where it's like I'm studying so much, I much rather be quiet around people until I get around.
See, that's what happens. That's what happens. You go from being like, you get the knowledge, and then you go from this thing where you like just mad happy and open. Then you go through a phase of like, well, damn, this knowledge been out there for this long. How come nobody knew? Then you start getting a little jaded, a little angry, right? Then it goes from anger to a certain degree of apathy. Then you like, forget all of these niggas. I'm gonna just do what I need for self. Then you start feeling bad because you know that's not who you really are. So then you go through an aspect of denial. It's like a whole 12-step program that you're getting out of. The Negro 12-step program that you're divesting out of to be into this. But if you fully want to be into this, you have to accept the fact that you was all that at one point. And these Moors want to have like a total clean slate. They want to make it like who they are on the internet is who they was in real life. And I'm telling you, unless you saw them in real life, what you got to understand is that what makes us family, you, the brothers that's listening, anybody that's on this type of thing, is that we took the hard route, man. When everybody was out here flossing, going to strip clubs, selling crack, pimping bitches, running credit card scams, right? What was we doing? We was out here stealing books, right? We was out here stealing books. We out here going to libraries, reading until we fall asleep. Not going out and doing crime, not taking certain things that would put us in a position to forsake where we see ourselves going, like not having the main shorty now, because now the shorty, now she see me in the fez, now she think I'm crazy. She think, oh, he on some other shit. He ain't gonna, you know, he ain't got no swag no more. Like, this is what they do, you know. And then what happens is you wind up in a circumstance where it's like you turn around and you're alone. It's
let me ask you this then, because I will say, by me sticking very close to the elders and listening to them, and not, it's because in my mind, it's like without them, I wouldn't have been able, like, especially Mother Rashida, she did a prediction in my life. And there's another mother we call the beloved Mother Oracle, but we don't put an appellation out there like that. But Mother Rashida, who is an oracle in our own light also, she had predicted I'll get a full scholarship to go to an astrology, like a major. She's like, you want to join an astrology organization and do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, 3 years later, full scholarship. I'm like, right. So that's when I started realizing, like, all right, I got to do something that's solid. Next thing you know, like, and even before I went, you know, I had linked up with Brother Corey. You know, Brother Corey Bey. It's funny because as soon as he logged out, you logged right in. Brother Terrell, Tamari Bey, Brother Sean, that's here with us now. And it was another brother. There's actually 3 other brothers. And of course, one of those 3 is Brother Aura. However, when it comes to the astrology, like one brother is no longer with us. He, you know, went through, because we got a little protocol that we do. Because I was like, yo, the prophet said, you know, we can do all things through our own free national papers. So let us certify ourselves. First, let's prove to ourselves we can do X, Y, and Z. We, you know, doing people's astro literacy sessions. Then we have the Albion, you know, put their stamp and seal on who we are and what we do, right? So that's been done also. So Islam. So now I'm at the point where we be actively discussing some things. I'm gonna go into detail a little more in private with you. However, I think we can do something where, like, because, you know, near the Baltimore Corporation, yo, you got what they call Jewish Park Heights. So when you get to, like, when you come up Park Heights, right? Park Heights run north and south for the most part. You feel me? When you got Northern Parkway running east to west. You feel me?
Right.
So it's like you get to the intersection of Park Heights and Northern Parkway, is this black gate. Right. In the median strip, right? And it's basically south of that gate is what's being landlorded over by everyone north of that gate, where it's like a synagogue just about every 2-3 blocks. You see people on their Sabbath, you know what I mean, deep in them. You already know, because even when I did the research at DSS, you know what I mean, because it's been November be 9 years since I declared my nationality. You feel me?
Peace.
So,
indeed.
so in the beginning, I'm just like, man, let me go and see what it's about with these, you know what I mean, the so-called social service and food stamps and all that. And when I asked them, you know, what's the demographic, you know, for that particular location for Northwest, I think they call it the Northwest region for Baltimore, right? 86% of the clientele is Ashkenazi. The 14% is everybody else.
Yeah. Because the Ashkenazim are running it.
I'm like,
but you gotta understand, God, like the Ashkenazim are the undertakers of the Moors. So how we were living, they basically inherited the scrap and created an inversion of that.
Correct.
So like these areas that they do, they're all that welfare and shit. Remember, all that shit was set up for the foreign people that came here as slaves by us. So they're really receiving the benefits that we, in a sense, set up for all of the nations that were enslaved, that we freed, that we allowed to come here and set up shit. So what happened is when we fell with each other, they then flipped it. And now they could stand up as trustees of the organization, i.e. our estate, and then they could now administer it to us because now we're on the same level. Like I say all the time, like, if we're going to uplift fallen humanity, we can't be on the ground with them. Somebody got to stand up to help the other person up. So there are ways that, like, the biggest issue is finance, right? So if that's the case, then there's different ways that you can go about establishing finance for the organization, whether it be your temple, whether it be this or that, that are really internally all based on you. You ain't gotta accept nothing for value. You ain't gotta do a lot of the stuff that they tell you that you gotta do. That's almost counterculture. You gotta remember, everything that we're living in now is a mirror reflection of how it was when we was running everything here. So everything is reversed. So they got us thinking that all of the United States courts, for instance, are corrupt, right? Let's say they are, right? The reason why they are corrupt is because the function has been averted. It's like having a dam. It's like having a river and then you put a dam there and then you start diverting, you see what I'm saying, the water to different aqueducts when really it could come straight out and everybody could get it. So what they did was they created different circuits to get to the main joint. There's only one main Supreme Court. We know that's the one in Pennsylvania, right? That's the main one. Right. So that one is the main one. But in order for you to access that one, you got to have a case. You can't just, like, Moore's just be sending them shit, right? And then it comes back unopened and everything. And Moore's like, yo, I sent it, more, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, but it's a court still. So in order for it to do what it need to do, you got to bring suit if that's what you want them to do. You can't just send them paperwork and be like, now I'm in. It don't work like that. You got to know what it is that you're striving to do. So like I said, with the money, the biggest thing with temples is they don't have no money because they don't run the temples the way that they're supposed to be running them. They run them like 501c3 corner store churches, right? When really each one is actually a 508c18. So that means then that the sheik, let's say you're a sheik, right? Let's say you're a sheik, you just got ordained, you got a temple, right? But you don't have no way to fix it up, whatever you're gonna do, right? So this is when your private equity and your private trust and shit comes in. Because one way you can do this to fund yourself and fund the temple is to establish your trust, which in our culture, we used to call them waqifs. That's actually the real name of a trust, is a waqif. All right. And you would establish the waqif in such a way that you have the ability to establish entities from it. So let's say you have a Waqif, you're a sheik, you got this building you want, you don't have no money down to go get it. You don't want to go through all of the bullshit these people are going to do it. So what do? You basically take your trust and you basically produce the equity from it by attaching yourself to it in the form of a policy. Okay.
Right. All right.
The insurance policy, right?
Gotcha.
Remember, all this goes back to the old empire.
Gotcha.
The Sultan was the head underwriter for the empire. So if you wanted to set up a whole another kingdom somewhere, you would go to the Sultan and be like, yo, Sultan, I want to go set up such and such and such. And then he'd be like, bet, here go 12 dinars. Now go make 200 out of that. That 12 dinars he gave you was insurance. You understand what I'm saying? Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good more. You good more.
Right.
No,
that's
good,
the insurance.
Good. I thought my people was coming.
That's all good. That's where the insurance comes in, but you don't put it on you. You make the trust the beneficiary for the index policy. Why would you do that? Because you, as a Moor, you've already taken a vow of poverty, chastity, chivalry, meaning that you don't own nothing anyway.
You're just controlling it for others.
Yeah, when you declared your nationality, you made a delineation between you and the fictitious trust that they've been working over all this time. You made a delineation between that, but that entity still has your name. So you have to make it a disregarded entity from them, right?
Right.
Once that happens now, it is a ship adrift on the high seas. Then you capture it and put your flag on it, which is the essence, basically your estate. And now that name is now associated with that trust that you now have the ability to indemnify by creating a policy for that. Once that policy is created, you know what that does? That now indemnifies you. How does it do that? It indemnifies you because now you are using, right? You're using the constitutional equity that goes along with being guaranteed a Republican form of government. Meaning, I don't have to follow US laws like that at all. However, y'all do.
Correct.
So because y'all do, this is how you're supposed to interface with me. So if I give X amount of money, let's say I want to do $1 million policy, right? Because now what I'm doing, I'm exercising the litany of Christ, because I'm putting myself on the cross, right? Which is the 4 directions, which represent what? The 4 gates, which represent the original jurisdiction. And I am giving my name now to it, where if anything happened to me, whoever is listed in this holy covenant, this trust, right? They get paid out based upon that. But guess what? While I'm alive, I can now be redeemed in the flesh, because now I have everlasting life, because I've accepted my sins and the sins of my people, because I have now taken responsibility, which means what? I've accepted the value that was attached to this disregarded entity that no longer functions as a U.S. court, that it now exists as an indemnity for me to be able to create the holy manna, which is the bread.
So let me ask this, because you on fire, and I want you to keep it lit. So let me make sure I'm comprehending, and even for those that are listening right now, because this is live via YouTube. So it's like, at the end of the day, because there are going to be people out there, and there's people that we will study with at times, because the Constitution is what's really bringing us together and making sure these people were following their United States code, their statute, right? Right. To keep them held to their obligation without trying to, force us to it. And so some will say, oh, that trust stuff, you don't have to do that. What is this and that? And that's why I'm thinking to myself, like, it's just, for some reason, it's different with Moors. However, no one's saying it
like
the
this.
way you're saying it.
Because they not looking at it. They looking at the forest for the trees more, because this is how you think the prophet was able to set up the temple. You think the Morrison Temple of America existed and he had no insurance attached to it? We really believe that? At the same time when Rockefeller was alive. Do you understand that Rockefeller got rich by doing exactly what I'm talking about? He took out a life insurance policy and made his trust the beneficiary. Now, with that policy, you know what he's able to do for $1 million? He's able to borrow or pull $1 million out of that policy.
Yeah, they call it family banking.
There you go. He brings it to his family. Now he say, look, we got $1 million to play with. I need y'all to come up with 3 different businesses. His family came up with 3 different businesses. He then took that bread, put that money into that, and then took out another policy on the trust, because there's no limit. And then what happened is he then created what was called a holding company. Then from the holding company, he then created what was called a management company. Because the trust, look at it like this. It's 3 levels. It's a triumvirate in Christian religion, right?
Trust,
it's God,
holding, management.
The Father, the Holy Ghost, right?
Mm-hmm.
The trust is God.
Got you.
The management company is the Son. The Holy Ghost is the holding company.
Got you.
Because that's you on a private now. So let's have you as a Moor. You've now declared your nationality. This is who you are. You're now in your thing. So now that you have the nationality, you've made this other entity a disregarded entity. You've recaptured it under your flag. Now you're going to make it a commodity-based asset, which allows you to indemnify it. You indemnify it by now taking out the policy, right? But instead of it being you, because remember, you don't want your name on nothing. Moors be talking about jurisdiction or the court jurisdiction, Moors have turned jurisdiction into a boogeyman that don't realize that United States, according to the law, exists only in Washington, D.C.
Correct.
United
States else is a franchise.
Only exists in the District of Columbia. That's the law. So any extension outside of that is literally an extension that's either created through a voluntary or involuntary means. You understand? So when you now establish your Waqif, which again is your trust, and then you put a monetary policy with that, now you have the ability to borrow at least all the way up to $1 million to do what you need to do. But you're not going to take that $1 million and squander it. What you're going to do, you're going to take that mill, or you're going to take, let's say, 150 grand out of that mill. And then you're going to take 100 and you're going to put, let's say, 100 into the holding company. And then let's say you put 50 into the management company, because the management company is managing now all of the business that goes for the trust, for the holding company, for your temple. Because now you're a sheik, remember? You want to have a temple popping where people can consistently come and do fellowship, right?
Correct.
Right. So we need a religious dwelling for that. So guess what? The management company, the trust tells the management company, go find a domicile for this temple. Then the management company goes out and finds it, right? Then it purchases it on behalf of the trust for the temple. And then the deed and all of that is then held in trust by what? The holding company. So now, as it looks now, on paper, where's the bank? Where's the taxes? Where's the third parties? There's none. You're all of it. You're all the third parties yourself. Now, let's say from the temple, you want to set up a foundation so that way you can create eventually a university for the Moors. You can give scholarships to the Moors.
Correct.
So now what you going to do?
It is me and Mother. You must have had a conversation with Mother Rashida too, because that is the goal.
Yeah. So what you do? So what do you do? So what do? You get the management company, right, to give up some bread, right? Donate some bread to set up what? Now a foundation. Now you got a foundation that's independently funded. So now, you know what that means? That means now, okay, what you want a senator? You want a congressman? you want a mayor? Great. All you gotta do, look, I got a temple, and on paper, my trust organization is worth over $100 million. And this is only in the third to 6th month of you doing this.
Gotcha.
So we got Moors. We want to see legislation passed for them. But instead of me going into doing all of that, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna set up this Noble Jew Ali College Fund for law, and I'm gonna send all of these Moors to college on a straight scholarship through that. Because guess what? I'm not paying that. I'm not paying nothing. No money has left my hands for nothing. I haven't paid for nothing, which means what? I can control everything because I don't own nothing. Everything is owned by the trust. I'm just the head trustee that's managing it on behalf of that. And I have a holding company to hold any assets that I have. So any LLC, cannot be taxed, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So if everything is running through this, and that's that's just you on the private side now. On the public side. On the private side, remember, you're also a Moor. You're also a Moorish American. You also have so-called American Indian heritage. So you know what that means? That means you're also now, and you're declared all the way up to the point where it's verified by these people. So you know what that means? That also then means that you have no, you have no obligation under the Negro black color thing, which then means that you have 100% asset to whatever you want to do 100% of the time. And you are not dependent on any other government. And you can do this for your family. Let's say you're married. You can have a policy where you make the trust the beneficiary. Because remember, the trust, the tenets of the trust is based on what? The Circle 7 and all of that. So all of this is indemnified. So on the public side, you got all of this constitutional Republican guarantee stuff going on through the trust that you indemnify. Then personally, privately now, you're a Moorish American, which means what? You're guaranteed treaty rights, right? So not only are you tax exempt on the public, you tax exempt also on the private.
Correct.
Because all of that bread that you get goes where? To the trust. You ain't got nothing in your name.
Correct.
Only thing you got in your name is your basic ID. And on the ID that I help people get, it ain't even got no address on it. Okay, let's say, okay, now somebody want to come, they want to sue you, they want to take your crib. How they gonna do that? In order to take the crib, when you find out who got the deed is owned by a holding company. You can't you can't go into the holding company for it because they're holding it, which means somebody else owns it or somebody else is managing it. That's the management company. But how they gonna find that when you set it up as an anonymous LLC out of Wyoming? They don't know where that is. Who is that? How they gonna bring suit? What they gonna do?
Now,
they gonna call?
Because there's some people gonna be like, well, hold up, because you did say so-called American Indian, you dropped these points and dropped those points, but how come nobody's talking about this like now, or you got other people shunning people away from it, like all that stuff, when we could really solve our own issues by having.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is how I'm living. I'm living like this. So niggas can say what they want. That's why I don't talk. That's why.
Hold on, time out. Because I want people to make sure you hear that. You're speaking on what you're actually doing, what you're currently experiencing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So because there's going to be people asking questions. I already know that.
Yeah, because man knows not from being told.
Correct.
So you could say what you want, but I know what worked for me because I worked it for me. So I know if it worked for me, I'm not special. Allah didn't just give me this knowledge just to hoard and sit on it for myself. So if I can help certain people with it, I'll do that. But I'm not going to do it in a context of I'm going to set up a website and everybody could download the paperwork and then do it. It don't work like that, because one thing you have to understand is that insurance by law cannot be marketed as an investment strategy.
And that keeps you out of being held to federal, state, or municipal statute. So you're not an agent of the Fed, an agent of the state, an agent of the city or county.
The only agents of that are the entities that were created and then indemnified on my side of the ledger. So anything that gets put out publicly is in its proper place because I am not the one liable for that. You understand? I established an indemnity myself, i.e., like I said, like I put myself on the cross, i.e., when they say you cross your I's and dot your T's, right? I mean, cross your
T's and dot your I's.
Dot the I's. Yeah. So that is the cross. So then what happens is the sins are now forgiven. The sins are what? The debt. The cess do we trust that was established at the time that I was born. That these niggas have been working since I was born up to 18 when I'm supposed to reach the age of majority and fire these niggas and then take responsibility for the controversy that was created while they were doing all of this crazy stuff in my name. Now I've taken that name from them. They cannot use it. And if they do, they have to pay me a penalty for it, which then means what? I am now in the position of power. They are now what? Subordinate. And there's no taxes involved because you cannot tax an LLC. And if you want to come to me individually to do that, I don't own nothing because it's all in the name of the trust. And my trust is managed, and that managed is held, and that held has a foundation, and that foundation has a charity. You see what I'm saying? So now we are part of the 1%. So now whatever you want to fund, you fund based upon what you want to do, not what you're having to do. Instead of going to people now and asking them more to go in their pockets and pull out $5 that they don't have to go to this building fund. No, we're going to build the whole thing. I'm going to pay for the whole thing to get built, and y'all just show up. So this way, we don't have to worry about it closing or, oh, this one didn't show up with the key or this one. No, when you have a management company now, you will have the ability to have it managed. You have the ability now to establish things in a way where it cannot be just fly by night. It becomes now institutional. It becomes something that we are all now invested in because this is something we all can be doing. Because once we all do this, we do then what the rich people do. We do what they call trust to trust banking. You got a property. You got a property. It might, this is how you can help people too with it, just by having it. You know how many malls are going through foreclosure and all that shit right now? So this is what you do. You go to the malls and be like, look, you in foreclosure, you got this going on. We'll work something out. I'll take control of your deed, put it in my holding company. Now they got to come to me to try to do anything to get you out. Then what I do is that I go to them and then buy the debt from them. See what I'm saying? Because the money I'm using is the money that's already there for me to use on behalf of the trust. You see what I'm saying? To do shit like this. Because what am I doing? We're uplifting fallen humanity. That's the tenet of everybody's trust. So long as I'm doing that shit, doesn't matter what I'm doing. So boom, now I got this person's mortgage. I done bought their debt. I done got the house. Now it's in the holding company or whatever. Now we can work something out. I can teach you how to get this thing done. So this way now when I hand you back the deed, now you know how to fish for yourself. And then in return, you give X amount of bread in the form of donation to my foundation or to my temple or to my this. Now, if we all doing that, how are we broke? There's nothing, and there's no taxing. There's no you going against your nationality because you're using the tools that were left for you to use, but you're using them the way a Moor, the way a national, the way a Alquantar would do, not the way a Negro, black, and colored do that got to do it on the same level as everybody else. That's why they want you to only have a black business. That's why they always want you to put black in front of your business. So this way, they can always have a silent underwriter who can come in, insure your business. And then when they collapse it, they take the insurance money off of your business and you don't even know. This is what the record labels is doing. Record
Gotcha.
labels are signing niggas, knowing they're going to die.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, I've been doing this. I'll do it right now. I'm sorry. They don't have nothing done. Right? So now what? So now they done. They don't have no way of following through with the designation or any of that.
Islam. Well, what I'll do, bro, I mean, I know you got to get to the rest of your endeavors. You and I will be in contact because remember, we had got in contact because some mother that we mutually know had, I won't go into detail, but had some complaint. And then after I spoke with you and saw what it was, I'm like, man, that brother helping out.
Islam, you know, and it was great because that's exact. I'm glad that also happened because after that, and I was able to follow it up with the sister and all of that, and you know, give her the bread and all of that. It was like what I wanted to illustrate to her was this is also the problem with stuff is that if I start something with you, I'm supposed to speak to you about it. Correct. If I'm starting something with you and then I go to somebody else to ask, hey, okay, well, is this working? It's working. There's nothing necessarily wrong with a second opinion, but don't engage me like we're actively doing this. And then because you feel a certain way, you want to almost make it like I'm in the wrong when all you had to do was call me directly and we could have went through whatever you wanted to. But
bruh,
I told
you was good. Once we did the math, we was like, motherfucker can't barely eat on that a day. What the fuck? Like, hold on, is this amount of time? And it was that. Nah, yo, hold up.
Yeah, more. That's the whole thing. Like, I don't sell like paperwork or stuff like that. So if I'm working with somebody, the paperwork that's done is tailored specifically for them.
Correct.
So this way, nobody else can use it. And this way, they understand what they're doing with it. So this way, now they can do what I did with them for somebody else. And now we all can eat. We all can be on it. Because it don't make no sense if I'm just here with this bread or this knowledge of how to do it. And then I'm hoarding it over everybody just so they can keep coming back to me for it. Ultimately, I'm going to get taken out. Because Allah didn't create it for that. Allah wanted freed up. But he also don't want it cast to his pearls cast to swine either. Because, you know, as soon as you say something on the internet, these Moors try to go create a whole package with it, right?
Yeah. That's why I said I'm gonna speak to you about what you're speaking about in private. Like I and my beloved mother mistress consort can speak with you and yours. And, you know what I mean? Our brothers, because you're already in contact with brother Corey, you know what I mean? And
Islam.
We serious about this, bro. So it's like
more like this is a way, like I said, we be having problems with finance and trying to get way. This is a way that's guaranteed. There's 4 different types of policy, but the main one you want to deal with, like I said, is the index, but it's a certain way that it has to be structured. So you got to make sure that you know how to do it. That's why I don't make straight videos just going directly into that. I deal with the individuals on it. Right. Because everybody, when the empire fell, everybody was in a different part of it. So everybody fell according to where they were. You see? So some of us were still in a great position prior to the fall and after. But now there wasn't enough of them in that pristine state to keep it moving. So they had to then almost act like they was down with the enemy to keep it going. You see?
Wow.
So there's a lot of that type of stuff that's been happening. But I think it's easier to depend on self and start with the family.
Correct. You know, that's what it is about. It's about our loved ones, man.
Yeah.
Real.
Because a lot of these sheiks more, like what I learned was in the old temple, at least in the old temples, in order for you to be a sheik, you had to be married. How many times have you seen Moors on TV, on YouTube, and they going in on each other? Ain't near women around. You ain't never seen with no female. You ain't never seen them with no woman, no child, nothing. They just out here every day on the internet going ham on shit. And it's like, fam, But then they calling themselves Grand Sheik of Moor Science Temple this, so I can send you paperwork to do this. So it's not how it work, bro. It's not how it work, man.
Like I said, I and my loved ones are going to get with you and your loved ones, bro,
Inshallah.
off the record, because you already know Mother Rashida was, Hasan.
My dude,
right.
that's the lady, man. That's the lady.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her, there'd be no Taj. And that's how
Correct.
I know he be tripping sometimes, because he don't let nobody know she around.
I mean, he let me know.
He let you know.
He let me know.
Right. Right. I found out myself that just by happening to doing a lecture out there.
Gotcha.
And one of the Moors told me that there was an elder out there, whatever, she wanted to meet me. So I was actually but like, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to find out. And then when I got there, I saw the real deal, and I saw how she had Taj like low key on timeout. I was like, yo, this is really this is why the Moors don't want a fair and balanced structure where like females is just as prevalent with us in it, because you're not going to be able, neither one of us are going to be able to hide. Like we're going to be able to have to really be ourselves with this thing. And
Did she talk to you yet about the activity for Grace Sale?
She started building with me on it. I got to tap back into her about it though.
We got the same memo, bro. So you already know it's inevitable. We got to break bread.
So this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is a way that Moors can basically get their situation straight privately without nobody knowing, and you funding what you funding and staying afloat. And at the same time, we're all moving progressively forward as the new upper middle class and shit. You know what I'm saying? So our goal is to be that new upper middle class or upper class, in the next 3 to 5 years. And I think with a certain schedule, we'll be able to do it, especially if we focus, like I said, on this like trust to trust banking, establishing your nationality, and then from the nationality, building out the extensive trust network and everything from there. So also, I'm gonna text you this flyer. I'm doing a lecture out here with a brother named Joey Bounce L out here in July. So I'm gonna send it to you if anybody's around or wants to come through for it. If you could spread it around, I appreciate it.
And you know what's interesting about that too? Will anybody be live on, like, because let me tell you, like, I have this account on Zoom, I and the Bros. And so any more that wants to do any lectures and they want it to be, live, like I have no problem with opening my platform to you if someone.
Oh, Islam.
Make sure it's steady.
I'll highlight you about that. Because I'm actually looking into something like that now. But if not, I'll definitely holler at you about that. Yeah. And I'm about to get my app up too.
Yeah, because I'm letting you, I already told you before. I already told you, like, bro, this shit ain't about, like, like the numbers and getting more monetary backing for YouTube, bro. We all 600 subscribers. We don't even care about that. We want to make sure the people are hearing real conversations that do become practical movements in their life for real, instead of just some fluff or mental masturbation. Pause. You feel me? Like that's what it really is about. You know what I'm saying? So
real talk, more like this is the only way in. We all in the end, we are all we got. And as much as Moors are very fickle, and Moors can be very very sometimish. You know what I'm saying? But in the very end of it, if you are somebody who acknowledges or identifies as a Moorish American, identifies with the principles and stuff, that means regardless to where you are now, you're not where you're going to end up. There's always something more to it. So the more you invest your energy, and remember, more means a lot. And a lot was the name of the moon goddess, right? And the moon represents wisdom, but it also represents sin, right? But the word sin, like I said, can also translate to debt. So if we are in a position to be able to alleviate all debts by going within ourselves and giving glory to our kingdom, i.e. your estate, your trust, based on the covenant the Lord thy God gave you by you extending your name, what does it say? It says, respect thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee. So that means if you take your mother and your father's name, i.e., Il, Bey, Day, Al, Ali, and then you annex that with your tribal name, the name that your family clan comes from, Jones, Smith, Douglas, you know what I'm saying, Malik, whatever. You don't give what one name to take the other. You bring them together. You know what I'm saying? And then once you do that, now you've established the covenant between you and Allah, based upon you honoring your parents. Now the land that he has given you is yours, i.e. the estate, i.e. the trust, i.e. the death benefits that you spend while you're alive. And then the dope thing about that is, regardless to what you pull out of that policy, God forbid anything happen to you, you get paid out the full length of the policy, the full money. So let's say you borrow up to $1 million, and then God forbid you pass, you still got to get paid out $1 million, because they never gave you any money. The money that they gave you is the money that's already in the account attached to the name. That's how they flip it. So that $8,000, let's say that you give to initially start it, that $8,000 go to $1 million. And then every year you have it, it goes up to create more equity. So you start at $1 million, but let's say you live till 50. Let's say you live till 80. How much is going to be by then? You're straight. Your family's straight. Everybody's good. And you didn't rob nobody to do this. You didn't break no law to do this. You didn't violate your nationality to do this. This is how you just do it. This is how the prophet did. Like, people really think the prophet was out here doing business with no court. He was just out here just doing shit. And he was just walking in places, people just opening up vaults and giving to. No, he had to have his paperwork correct. And it was. He didn't go to his house and print out a bunch of paperwork and then took it down to the county and filed that shit. He went there, and that day, whatever paperwork was there, he used it. And based on that, we able to use the same paperwork today. Correct. He ain't remake the will. He ain't do nothing out of the ordinary. It just seemed magical because our people are so brain dead that they think that anything technologically advanced is basically magic.
Gotcha. And that's why people can utilize, instead of utilizing their minds to look at these so-called lower court venues or whatever as corrupt, they can now assert themselves.
You can assert yourself how you want, because the courts are there for you. Everything is created for us, for the benefit of us. But if you go into every instance that everything is set up against you, then it is. I don't walk into courts. I don't go into no place thinking I'm going to be excluded, racially profiled, nothing. I don't take that energy with me nowhere. And so that don't happen to me. I'm watching people getting taken off of airplanes and shit like that. Like, I used to get on airplanes with the full Indian headdress, the whole, like the war bonnet. I would get on the plane with that shit on. I remember getting on the plane. I had my fez with my turban. I had the burnous, the white burnous on, wrapped around and shit. Like, let me see what they do. They don't do nothing. They don't give me no problems. That's what I'm saying. They don't give me no problems because I don't walk in there with no problems. Meanwhile, niggas in there with a t-shirt, jeans, and flip-flops and shit. These the niggas getting thrown off the plane. Gotcha. Not me, because they know a more when they see one. They know a civilized man when they see one.
That's true. I've had that experience. I had people kind of tell me like, "Oh, hold on, he's not a problem," or "Your energy is different," but I don't carry that rowdy, rah-rah. Like, I know when we speak amongst ourselves, we have colloquial exchange, you know what I'm saying? You know, however, when it comes to being, you know, walking our ancestral state, we come across other beings that are not on this higher plane with us, you know, it's little to no words and it's all respect. You know what I'm saying?
But a kind word is a kind word, whether it's to a baby, a dog, an old man, or a woman. We civilize regards to who we're around, and we're not supposed to be brought out to our lower nature just because these people in theirs. So if you find yourself in situations like that, Moors, raise your vibration, get up out of there. Start doing violet flame techniques. Niggas start talking to you and you don't like what they saying, start visualizing them while they talking, start smoldering with violet smoke, and then start burning up in a violet flame. And the more they talking, the bigger the flame get. Watch what happens. They stop talking, they forget what they saying, they walk away. They just, you got to start to know that you're the one creating the reality and start to warp it around you by using the tools that's set for you to do it.
That's that violet flame ritual you speaking about.
Yes, more. Yes, more. That shit is real. It's real. That stuff has saved my life. It has saved my life many times.
Indeed.
So yeah, Morris, I'm not even gonna keep you. I gotta hold up. And then I think tonight I'm supposed to do a Brother Rich's show. But if I get the link, I'll let you know. But
yeah, bro,
inshallah,
we already connected, bro. There's nothing for you to text me or call me at any time, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Ditto, brother.
Me and the brothers respect you, bro. When we had that first conversation, it was like, man, bro is bro. Like, I don't know what anybody else talking about. And that's why I like to meet a man or a woman or like a brother or a mother myself. I don't like that he said, she said shit, yo, for real. So
I know.
So go and do your thing, enjoy yourself, you and your beloveds, man. All right.
Happy holy day to all of the Moors, man. Thank you guys for coming through and holding me down.
Indeed. Happy holy degree, more. Enjoy yourself. Peace and love.
You as well, more. Peace.
Peace. All right, y'all. So let's go and check this chat here and see what you guys said. I see it's about 25 of y'all in here. It says, peace and love to everyone, says Brother Terrell Bey. He also says, happy holy day. Open 642 says, greetings. Slim Herban says, Islam, peace, peace, peace. Happy Venus degree. JL says, Islam, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Let's see. The art of life says, body. Halo City Young. Yeah, I know you'll figure it out. You can just leave. It'll tell you, bro. Halo City Young says Islam Moors. She's open 642. She says exactly. Halo City says the noble Asir in the building. Islam Moors. Indeed, Brother Alnor, that was Brother Asir. Open 642 said fleecing. Yes. Open 642 is dropping the bomb there, right? In the emoji. Consuelo says peace and love to all. Brother Alnor says facts. Mother Sahar says peaceful greetings to everyone. Happy Holy Venus degree. Brother J, Ben Day says, happy holy day, Morris. Happy holy day to you, Brother J. And also it says, because they stealing money, laughing out loud. Mother Carmisha says, Islam Moors, happy holy day. Slim Herman gives the 100 and is peace and love. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, right? Brother Al Noor for Halo City Young says, yes, so I say. Mother Carnisha says, enjoying Brother Hasan's aesthetic today. Wow, okay. Gratitude. Mother Sahar says, that's presuming we want to engage in commerce, right? I'm pretty sure that's a comment pertaining to when Brother Asir was speaking. Brother Jay says, praise Allah. Brother Al-Noor gives the fire. Mother Sahar says, we're non-tax obligated. That is correct. Consuelo says Islam. Brother Jay says Islam. Brother Jay said, you had to know 7 chapters from the Circle 7 too. Right? How do you get in contact with Brother Asir? That's interesting. I mean, when I go to speak, what am I asking that? Like, people would like to know. And like I said, yeah, because, we were, the connection was made with Mother Rashida Bey, who's the Sayar Hop of the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. So shout out to Brother Taj and Mother Delilah Pesiel for making sure that I was even able to link with her. And she's the reason that, like I said, 7 Hill Star is what it is. You know what I mean? As far as the direction we're going in, how we're sharing the information, you know what I mean? Basically, junior Great Seal, so to speak, but like I said, I think Great Seal is about to be way more active than people have been seeing lately, especially now that I and Brother Asir are connected and met, you know what I mean? Us having the same spiritual mother, so to speak. Mother Sahar says in Sanskrit, moon is sin, moon equals sin, correct? Derek Blash Bay, peace and grace to you, brother. He says Islam. Sunshine L says Islam with about 7 honeys up there, right? Brother Jay says, Sears info helped save me to Islam. Indeed, Brother Jay, thank you for that. Tyler Bay said Islam. Halo City gives his hands and, puts them up and agree. Halo City also says Violet Flame Ritual. Yeah, no, right? Melissa Hart says, gratitude, Brother Seer. Mary joined us. What's up, Mary? Peace will green tea. She says, peace and love, everyone. And Consuelo says, gratitude to Brother Seer and happy holy day. So, guys, just, remember where we got started with this just 3 Fridays ago. It's the intro, right? The intro, right? The intro to, federal rules of civil procedure. And as even the seer said, you guys that are part of the jurisprudence gym at lawfulliving.com, you've heard us say that this doesn't apply to us. And so knowing and learning why these things don't apply to you by requesting the records necessary for certain things, and I know a lot of us are not going to deal with the trust stuff. Some of us actually are. However, like I've been saying, and I hope people can hear it a little more now. And then, as I go to sit with, Brother Seer and his loved ones and I and my loved ones, research exactly, what he's sharing, so that we can further what it is that we know. That's why as he was speaking, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what that is. That's why I was filling in. However, I wanted, Brother Seer to fully express himself. Because like I said, we spoke last Tuesday and he kept his word on showing up today. So I'm very thankful about that. And like I said, ever since connecting with this brother on my own, off of Mother Rashida's suggestion, it's just been a love. You see what I'm saying? Like seriously. So with that being said, I trust that what we'll be able to do is do some more good, seriously, and begin having our Moorish communities based off of what Brother Asir was speaking about. However, we can only do it with a sincere heart. We can't be selfish. We can't be thinking about only ourselves and things of that nature. It just can't go that way. All right. So we should be able to have Moorish communities everywhere, just like you have so-called Jewish communities, right? Which, as y'all heard Brother Asir say, they just basically took what we provided, flipped it. One thing I didn't get to say was, because even in my first year of studies and taking nationality and birthright seriously, because I've always been, more, right? Always been more. Just that now I've come to the age of maturity and I'm taking it, seriously. It's like, okay, I also learned that rabbis, coming across Moorish Americans, they're supposed to, if we need food, no hesitation. They're supposed to provide the things that we need. If there's, finances in some way, shape, or form needed, they're supposed to provide that also. However, in what, I'm pretty sure when I go to speak further with Brother Seer, and then, we work out, map out a way to continue to assisting Moors in general, this will really be something great where you don't have to worry about anyone taking your dues to pay their rent or, to do anything else that that was outside of what was promised, right? Brother Sean, do you want to add your wisdom on anything, big man? Whatever you heard, anything you like to share, bro? I mean, anything. Peace and love. Keep it Moorish. Says peace and love. Peace and love to you, Islam. So what about you, Brother Sean? What you got to say there, bro? You're muted.
My bad. I just got a stupid dog. I left my chain out there to get some sun, man. She didn't shoot my shit up. But
they got to it all the way this time.
Hold on, bro. I'm so mad.
Is
like
that the organite that they put up like
yeah,
this?
Whoa. I could do some real shit, but yeah, bro.
No. Okay. No, that organite still like it's intact though.
The organite, but yeah, everything had was wrapped. Like everything is like.
You think you can send that back to Brother Tristan and he can repair it? You think that's a possibility?
Possibly, yeah. I have to reach out to him. I can't even think, like, because I
know,
sat
that's
there
the
and I put
truth.
it out there earlier, and I was like, I said, man, let me let them out. And then that small, still voice said, you left your chain out there. And I go out there and that shit chewed the fuck up.
Wow. Well, besides
I'm just
that,
not gonna put nothing out there in the sun again. But yeah, man, that was real cool what bro was talking about. Like, we need something like that. It's too many mores. Actually, I ain't gonna just put it on. It's too many folks from all walks out here hustling, knowing the information that can help thousands, millions of beings, and gatekeeping it to try to make it seem like they're the big dog on the block, so that everybody has to go through them for this when we supposed to be politically, socially, and economically free, so that we can uplift each other and get the things that we need to, without everybody wanting to, like, you know what I'm saying? Not in a chase the bag sense, but I got this and I'm way more richer than you. And you know what I'm saying? Putting each other down and having that image, just like have it to where everybody can eat, everybody can access the different things that they need without trying to make it seem like it's a competition. And having to do things that we know we don't want to do. We know as Moorish Americans, we don't want to have to go back into that system, because that's what we declared and proclaimed for, not to go back into the NBC and doing practices and trades that sound like literally it sells back into slavery, but to have that mindset to keep things correct and move in a way where everybody can, like I said, get what they need, have the basic necessities, start doing these universities and getting these temples set up, and even getting the maladministration out of the temples that's already been there, so that we can do what the prophet instructed, is to uplift fallen humanity and be ourselves. And we know there's a lot of opposition towards it, but we're getting there, and it's always going to be in our hands, no matter how it looks. So yeah, that was pretty smooth, man. It's got me up for like, yeah, Sammy. I ain't got no consort or no children, bro. But I need some things to assist others, and to continue to do what I do. Like, so yeah, that was great that bro was able to come through and drop that. And as we continue to keep clearing out the air and confusion that's going around, like folks thinking like, being Moorish American is a club thing, like a membership, and it's not. It's like it's your birthright, but it just been that kind of illustration or illusion of it's some club thing, and it's never not been. It's that. So
and
that
this is
great.
our right, indeed. And just to say, this was just our speaking casually portion. We haven't even gotten into what we're going to go over, but we're going to go over it briefly, right? Let me just read. Over 642 says exactly. Halo City Young says, in terms of making sure things are being done properly for people that are seeking to be secure, pertaining to what Prophet Noble Darley has laid down for us as far as Moorish Science Temple. Making sure that leadership isn't paying their rent and or buying cars with the dues. He also says shaking his head and taking the dues. Sahar says indeed. Some Herban says gratitude, send unconditional. He enjoyed himself and gratitude nobles. He's got to step off, stay focused on peace and love. Guys, we're going to do our invocation in. We're going to briefly go over after our invocation in. We're just going to briefly go over a federal rule of civil procedure. We might just do 4.1 because today that is our speaking casually is like, whoa, but we'll continue next Friday and going further into it. I trust you guys did your homework in doing Federal Rule of Civil Procedure number 4 and just reading through all of 4. And we're going to go into 4.1, just maybe 4.1, maybe 5 today. But there's other things I know I have to get to also because I'm turning up my duties here as far as being dear fathers. By these lessons, you can, set your house in order and your children will learn to love instead of hate. So I'm finding myself being, the excitement of being much more involved in that. So I'm going to make sure I go and bathe the dog, do things like that. So you want to at least go over Federal Rules of Procedure 4.1 one at least. I'm going to face east. And we're going to extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right. And we're going to do our Moorish American prayer, all righty? And then the 2 letters to be read in every meeting. So let me actually even cue that. Let me cue that right now, right, for you all. Moment. Make sure I got that thing. 2 seconds. I got it for everyone, so you guys can see that. And let me bring it right here. All right. Now let me go and screen share. Lawful Living Telegram group on off right now. All right, so let's do a screen share. Sharing the screen. Start the broadcast on that. All righty, guys, here we are. All right, so we're going to do our invocation in. Now you can repeat after me either aloud or in your heart. We're here at Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Administrative Functions, pages 48 and 49. And here on the left, you see handsomely standing due guard is Prophet Noble Drew Ali and it's Moorish Sharif Fez. All righty, and we're going to do our invocation in turn for Moorish American prayer, having our feet on a 45-degree angle as he does. All righty, 5 appendages extended on the left, just the index and middle on the right. You repeat after me either aloud or in your heart. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Allah, the Father of the universe.
God, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My God.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Amen. All righty, guys. Let's get into the first letter to be read in every meeting. Brother Sean Aline Mel is going to get that to you guys here at Administrative Functions. Moorish Holy Temple of Science Administrative Function, pages 84 and 85. We yield the floor to our beloved brother and whom well pleased, Brother Braveheart Islam.
The following is a letter written by Prophet Noble Drew Ali on the 18th day of January, 1928, Anti Domini or AD. He commanded,
that's right.
He commanded that it be read before every meeting.
I'm just seeing what they're saying in the chat, bro. Go ahead and do your thing right here.
All right, from Administrative Functions, Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue, Noble Drew Ali, founder, Chicago, Illinois, January 18th, 1929, to be proclaimed in every meeting. Dear brother Islam, I am glad to know that I have few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement, now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and none real. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish divine and national movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause, Noble Drew Ali.
Islam. Alrighty, for our second letter to be read in every meeting, we're getting it from the Moorish literature. Excerpts from the Moorish Guide newspaper on page 12. You see standing there, handsomely standing due guard in his Moor Sharif's fez, his Prophet Noble Ali. On page 13, divine warning by the Prophet Noble Ali. Prophet warns all Muslim governments ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical and agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. Right? You know, like Brother Taj said, you know, the internet's the new streets, you know, so there also, right? We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate a divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey. The law is laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and buttons. He's wearing their turban and fez and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Noble True. Right? So let's go right into this, and then we can do our invocation out. Right? So here we are, Federal Rule of Civil Procedure. We already went over, hope you guys did your homework. We went over Rule 4 for summons. Hope you guys read it, got some comprehension for yourself. Use your different resources that are necessary to see that, right? And lastly, in the comments, you know, Open 642 was saying exactly, many feigning love, right? So yeah, it's like we got to be for real sincere about this, man. And that's why I'm so glad, like I said, for I and my brothers to be on the path we are. Shout out again to the elders, you know, our beloved mother mistress consorts that are by our side. You know what I mean? Shout out to you guys. Shout out to our elders, the beloved Mother Oracle. Shout out to you, and shout out to our other Oracle, right? Mother Rashida Bey, the Sayaraha. Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, right? So it's just wonderful, all right, to have this experience, and then we can go and look at these, you know, rules that are really for those that, you know, that aren't us, you know what I mean? These are things that's for those that are on a level much lower than us. However, I think the people need to, you know, change their literature so that they can be able to change their mindset. And again, go with a mindset that these things are in our favor. However, holding other beings to their statutes, codes, and policies and things of that nature while we are being ourselves and uplifting fallen humanity. So Rule 4.1 under Title 2, which is commencing in action, service, and process, pleadings, motions, and orders, right? 4.1. It's probably, okay, so we may get into 5 because this one is short. Because see, once it says notes, that's the end that's going into, okay, this is where, you know, notes of advisory committee on rules, you know what I mean? And you start getting into other things that you can go and further research so you can get, you know, more under your knowledge base, so to speak, to strengthen that foundation. Rule 4.1, serving other process, right? Brother Sean, I yield the floor to you, Brother Islam.
A in general process, other than a summons under Rule 4 or a subpoena under Rule 45, must be served by a United States Marshal or Deputy Marshal, or by a person specially appointed for that purpose. It may be served anywhere within the territorial limits of the state where the district court is located, and, if authorized by federal statute, beyond those limits. Proof of service must be made under Rule 4 I. Is it?
I think that's L.
L 4L. B, enforcing orders. Committee for civil contempt. Committing for civil contempt. An order committing a person for civil contempt of a decree or an injunction issued to enforce federal law may be served and enforced in any district. Any other order in a civil contempt proceeding may be served only in the state where the issuing court is located, or elsewhere in the United States within 100 miles from where the order was issued.
So right there is referring to Rule 4 and A and Rule 45 between the summons and subpoenas. It's also letting you know that proof of service is something that, is also practiced in this, particular game called, jurisprudence court instead of basketball court, right? And enforcing the orders, right? So, committing for civil contempt, right? So it's like this is interesting. In order committing a person for civil contempt of a decree or injunction, I mean, I'm pretty sure those of you out there that have done injunctions and still had people, simulate the legal process, I think that this is something that could be of some assistance when, utilized after, being comprehended as far as strategy is concerned. Let's look at number 5, serving and filing pleadings and other papers, Rule 5. Okay. And look at the length of this one in particular. Let's see what happens when we get to notes. Make sure I didn't pass it. I passed the notes portion. Okay, let me make sure I didn't. I see notes of advisory though. I feel like I passed it. Let me go back. Okay. So attorney CV. Right. Got it. That's it right there. D4 is it. Right? It just doesn't say notes in bold, but notes of advisory committee right there. Right? So that's the end of it right there, right? So it goes down to D4, right? So I guess what we could look at, and that's just under filing. So this will be you guys' homework, looking at Rule 5. We want to expand further on that. And maybe we can come back next Friday and start from Rule 5 and just go through it thoroughly and see what you guys can add to it in the chat next Friday. All righty, so we can just read a couple of these, Brother Sean, and then we'll close on.
All right, A, service when required. 1, in general. Unless these rules provide otherwise, each of the following papers must be served on every party. A, an order stating that service is required. B, a pleading filed of the original complaint, unless the court orders otherwise under Rule 5C, because there are numerous defendants. C, a discovery paper required to be served on a party, unless the court orders otherwise. D, a written motion, except one that may be heard ex parte. And E, a written notice, appearance, demand, or offer of judgment, or any similar paper. 2, if a party fails to appear, no service is required on a party who is in default for failing to appear, but a pleading that asserts a new claim for relief against such a party, must be served on that party under Rule 4. 3, seizing property. If an action is begun by seizing property and no person is or need be named as a defendant, any service required before the filing of an appearance, answer, or claim must be made on the person who had custody or possession of property when it was seized. B, service how made. 1, serving an attorney. If a party is represented by an attorney, service under this rule must be made on the attorney, unless the court orders service on the party. 2, service in general. A paper is served under this rule by A, handing it to the person, B, leaving it, B.I, at the person's office with a clerk or other person in charge, or if no one is in charge, in a conspicuous place in the office. Or 2, if the person has no office or the office is closed, at the person's dwelling or usual place of abode with someone of suitable age and discretion who resides there. C, mailing it to the person's last known address, in which event service is complete upon mailing.
that still requires one to be a federal agent, because to have an address means that you are a part of the Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. Government, who rules are being made for, rules are made for government, the land, and naval forces. So if you are part of the government that is, being spoken about in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, are you part of the land and naval forces? If so, then yeah, you have an Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 mailing address, right? If not, then that doesn't apply. And it's just is bringing more clarity when saying that after we have spoke to Brother Hasan that, and showing how, these things don't pertain to us or belong to us, right? So I trust, when I do rap with Brother Hasan, and go further, we'll be able to assist more.
Did you freeze up, bro?
We can go to.
Oh yeah, you did freeze up for a little bit.
We can go to, you did C. Right? So, D, let's do D, E, and F3, and then we'll stop. And the people for homework can go and check out C and Rule 5. But the Federal Rules of Procedure, we close on our yield, bro.
Indeed. D, leaving it with the court clerk if the person has no known address. E, sending it to a registered user by filing it with the court's electronic filing system, or sending it by other electronic means that the person consented to in writing. And either of which event service is complete upon filing or sending, but is not effective if the filer or sender learns that it did not reach the person to be served, or F, delivering it by any of the means that the person consented to in writing, in which event service is complete.
The person consented to. So there's got to be consent to be served, right? So that someone has to consent to be sued. Go ahead, I yield.
And which event service is complete when the person making service delivers it to the agency designated to make delivery.
We will be using court facilities, right? Abrogated April 2018, effective December 1st, 2018, until Rasante, right? And then, guys, you go and do your homework for C, serving numerous defendants, and D is filing, and then going into that, and you guys will be complete with C and D, and we'll come back and review that next Friday, our next holy day. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. You guys have been amazing. For all that have joined us today, we're going to do our invocation out, our writing, as we have started. Brother Sean is going to lead us out. And thank you for joining us. I know we had more of a casual conversation before getting into our presentation for the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Like I said, it's always good to check this out. In order to change people, you must change the literature. And I will find out how one would get in contact with Brother Hasan, right? And again, I'm letting you know now, you don't want to be someone who's just going to be asking a bunch of questions like a vampire. We know who question vampires are. Those of you who just have question after question after question, you don't really have anything solid as far as in your mind already, how to move on certain things. You don't have a knowledge base that's backing that. It might be best for you to make sure you're doing what we've done. And what, as you heard Brother Hasan say, why everybody is out there thugging, drugging, you know what I mean, hoeing around, you know what I mean, want to smoke and drink. We hitting the books, you know what I mean? We allowed ourselves to be celibate for months at a time. I know with me, that's exactly what my experience was, you know what I'm saying? Until thinking, coming across certain mothers that you think are going to be sincere. So far, the only sincere Moorish American mother that I've come across is my beloved mother, Mistress Consort, whom I'm very pleased right now. Everyone else is just like, go study, sister, because I'm not interested. I don't care really what you think, you know what I mean, on those terms. It's like, I'm here to assist. That's it. Don't flirt with me. Don't say things that you think will You say it a certain way, it'll make me blush. I'm paying attention to all of that. And I don't like it. Like, I really don't. You know what I mean? I put my bros on, be like, watch out for that type shit. You know what I'm saying? However, we're going to close on out. All righty. Mother Sahar says gratitude, Brother Hasan, Brother Sean, peace and love, and Brother Derek Flash Spaces, peace, everyone. We're going to extend all 5 appendages on our left hand. It's the index in the middle on the right. We're going to face east, and we're going to repeat after Brother Sean and Lee now, either aloud or in our hearts. All righty. So let me do that. Brother Sean, we yield the floor to you. Islam.
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 Oh, my bad. They got all right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My God.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
The holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
Alrighty, y'all. Thank y'all oh so much. You guys go and enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your happy, holy Venus degree. We'll see you all Sunday. Alrighty. Sunday for our AstroCivics Sunday. What was we going in on? I'm gonna refresh my memory on AstroCivics Sunday, man.
Was it chapter 41 we're doing next?
Chapter 41, I think it is next. There you go. Because we're doing our Quran devotional countdown. So chapter 41 is next, and look forward to going in on that with you guys. So we all enjoy yourself. I'm going to go get a little sustenance and go wash the dog. Brother Sean said he's going to stomp the dog. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Boy.
No, we're not gonna kick the dog or stomp the dog. But some puppies need a little on their booty. Hey, you stop that. All right. So with that being said, this is where we say to you all, namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, 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 y'all. Peace and